All right, hello, hello. Sorry, I was really enjoying my hat this morning. I was like, can I fit the headphones on with this? I'm like, hmm. Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. A little bit of news. Not a lot of movement in the markets in the last 24 hours. Yeah, fall is here. So I survived. Final lacrosse game. Got a little hectic last night. Yeah. Came down to one of my defensemen. Got punched by an attack player. And then I basically said, I'll take that guy. The next time he gets the ball, he's mine. And we ran out of time. So I did not get retaliation for my teammate, but I did mess the guy pretty good earlier in the game. So fun men's league, you know. Everybody's 40. The 80-year-old showed up last night. Again, I don't know. He heard we were low numbers, and he showed up. And they scored 2 goals on him. So, yeah, we lost by 1. So, very heated game, but we survived. Just so you guys know, did not perish, but a little bit slow this morning because it was a late night. I didn't get back till almost midnight. So, anyway, you know, my data goes up there with, you know, Liz Truth. Trues, whatever you want to call her. Doesn't matter. She's going to be irrelevant. I think this is interesting. We've agreed that there's a leadership election. So, a couple good candidates out there. I could not deliver the mandate. Yeah, I mean, this is big news. Particularly because, again, I think everybody understands it at this point. When you make a decision, you got to kind of stick with it. 3 days later, because of political pressure, going, just kidding, guys, doesn't really work. I think everybody had lost all respect for her. So, you know, I'm sure she's a nice lady. I've never met her, never had tea with her. But, yeah, I was kind of questioning, like, oh, God, what is the UK in for with this lady? And, yeah, so it's not going to make a difference because she is now officially out and a new statement coming in. I cannot deliver on the mandate for the Conservatives. Yep. So, yeah, she out. Yeah. And it's weird. I'll meet with the king. We're so used to saying I'm going to meet with the queen and tell the queen I'm leaving. But, yeah. I'm going to meet with the king. It's like, wow, I think that's the first time anybody's actually mentioned him. It's crazy. And then 15 minutes ago, check out Turkey. So Turkey's got 83% inflation. And because, again, it's just, again, the recession thing, the dollar crushing them, we cut it 150 basis points. Yeah. Cutting them interest rates, but their inflation is 83%. So Turkey's got so many problems. Like, you think UK's got problems? Turkey's got even worse. It's even worse. Yeah. So kind of a funny set of things here. In other news, you know, some other things, you know, they're debating, you know, China debating cutting some quarantines down, right? All the UK data. And then obviously as we mentioned yesterday, the nuclear drills, they're happening. In other news, where is it? Hold on. There's some good news here too. Here. And again, this is on September 29th, so it's not really recent, but they've acknowledged it, that there was an unarmed plane over the Black Sea. Typically, if you have an unarmed RAF aircraft, it is probably a spy aircraft or doing some type of surveillance. You know, Russian aircraft intercepted it and actually shot a missile at it. I'm like, wow. Now again, September 20th. If they shot a missile today, there'd be like World War III. But this is September 29th. Look at that. Fired a missile, right? You know, they have concerns about Russia. Yeah, but again, I think it's funny in light of this potentially dangerous engagement. But it's like, yeah, this is on the 29th. It's, you know, we're what, 21, 22 days later, dude? Yeah. Russia acknowledged the incidents took place at international waters, right? We've now resumed patrols, but escorted by fighter aircraft. Okay. Yeah. But it's kind of old news, but it's like, wow, look at this. They released missiles. Mm-hmm. Yep. Nah, it's there. I wouldn't quite say it's actually shooting China's economy in the foot. They have a bigger picture of it. So China does things very forward thinking. Remember, right? I think what they are preparing for, they're trying to weaken. I think they're purposely doing it, Jeff. as I said, Japan right now, being as weak as it is starting to gain a competitive advantage in some markets that China also competes in. They're going to get slaughtered with the yen as weak as it is right now. So China trying to weaken a little bit actually is kind of what they need to kind of help their economy a little bit. It's kind of backwards. It's weird thinking, but remember, like export nation theory is a little bit different, and that's kind of what it is. So I don't think it's a big deal. I don't know. I don't fully agree with some of the Wall Street Journal articles either. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Honestly, the biggest thing for China right now, and again, I think this is a very important piece to it. The COVID quarantine, cutting it to 7 days from 10 days. Remember, one of the biggest market movers right now is when China locks things down. Lowering the lockdown phase, I think, and again, you can see it right here. Look, presented top leaders, right? I think this is a big thing for them. They're still keeping with that policy, right? But being able to cut all this stuff down speeds them up a little bit faster. That's kind of where the driving force all this is. I mean, COVID at this point, I think, is pretty much a dead issue in the United States. Not that it doesn't exist, right? But it's not locking anybody down at this point. It's more trying to get people to go back to work, right? They're like, I like working from my pajamas. So China has a bigger picture. Like I said, put it this way. There's one thing that China is not, and that's forward thinking. Okay. They're not planning for today or tomorrow. They are planning for a year, 2 years, 3 years in like a grander kind of image of themselves. That's why they had that China policy, and they're going to do it. I mean, I don't have any doubt at this point. We've given them everything they need to. They will do it. So yeah, they got it. Real estate bubble and brain dead. Yeah, but remember, the Wall Street Journal also talked about how China was going to collapse because of all the real estate stuff. We haven't heard anything about Chinese real estate and defaults for how long? Right? I mean, remember, that's what all the news was about. Like, listen, the world's going to end because China and all the real estate is dying over there in their bubble. We haven't heard anything. Right, and the brain drain with the tech crackdown. Understand their currency and COVID moves. Yeah. And right now, actually, they were talking about it yesterday. That right now, with our software capabilities, So the United States, they were saying that basically they still believe that the United States, technology-wise, is still ahead of China, but they acknowledge that surveillance-wise, China has surpassed the United States now. I think that's a little, I mean, maybe, but I think it also is a little bit egotistical to say that, oh, yeah, we're definitely, technology, we got China. China's not dumb. China copies very, very well, right? We can have the latest, greatest technology, greatest drone in the world, but if one of them goes down, China will get their hands on it and then duplicate it, right? So they're not using the resources that we are for it. But we've acknowledged that surveillance-wise, China's ahead. China can use our freedoms against us. We can't use China's non-freedoms against them, right? And we don't take advantage of things that we could. China, when they have an advantage, they take advantage of everything. So it's a difference in cultures. Remember, I mean, the reason we had trade tariffs is because China wasn't living up to their end of the bargain, so we slapped other tariffs on. And what do? We want to make friends. Let's remove those tariffs. China never held up their end of any of the bargains, and nobody cares, right? Because China is powerful. Pollution, higher in China than the United States, but everybody's pissed off at Trump because we left the Paris Accords. China stayed, but you know what they did? They just lied and they did nothing, and it came out later on that, oh, you know what? They did nothing that they said they did. Great. And nothing happened to them. So it's the differences. I think our real estate bubble, China does things a lot differently than we do as far as spending, saving, investing, purchasing. They do it a little bit differently, right? Just the mentality of the culture. So I think a real estate bubble here is a much bigger deal than what it is over there, actually. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I think the Wall Street Journal is very U.S. ego biased, and I think they're not looking at it on a grander spectrum. Now, today's data, and again, not a lot of movement in 24 hours. 5 minus 115. I mean, the biggest one is the dollar CAD, and we talked about strength coming back in oil. 35 is the biggest mover. Euro pound 5, 16. Come on, the prime minister just resigned. 0, 3, 20. You're like, wait, why is there no movement? A lot of it's going to depend on who comes in next. But here's the thing. I think the next person that comes in has the perfect scenario. So everybody hated Boris. I actually don't mind Boris. I actually kind of like Boris. But again, everybody hated Boris, and they're like, oh, he had, even my wife, even Melissa said it. She was like, well, come on. He had those like COVID parties. He went to those COVID parties. I'm like, really? So what? Who cares? How many senators went to galas that said you need to wear masks and then went to galas and didn't wear them here? There's many pictures of them with it, or without masks, and at rallies. So we did the same thing. So it's nice to say that all Boris went to lockdown COVID parties. So what? He's human. So what? Who cares? Right? We did plenty of it here as well. And his job was to get Brexit done. He got Brexit done. Right? And then he moved on. Right? It's like Churchill. Churchill was supposed to be there for the war and then get out. And he did. Right? So the next person is kind of UK, I would say, is kind of at that rock bottom. You can't blame Boris. Like, she came in, screwed all kinds of stuff up. They're in a recession. Their inflation went up to 10.1. I think the next person that comes in can really play savior. And I think this is the person that we need that really can help supercharge the pound, to start bringing the pound back again. I mean, it's easy, right? A lot of people were like, oh my God, Obama, look how much he did. He got in at the lowest point, right? We were at the bottom of literally, you look where the peak was. It's not anything he did, because as everybody tells us, the Fed included, right? It takes time for these things to kick in. Everything that Obama claimed credit for wasn't because of him. It was all the policies. It was already starting to trend back in that direction. And again, the policies that were put in January, they helped him, right? Again, it's nice to say that you created a lot of stuff when all you did was claw it back, right? Now we're at rock bottom. So this next person that comes in for the pound, we may have some major movement coming in the pound now with new policies. Once the election's in, once we hear how they're going to restore, the empire back to its glory, right? There could be this could be what we really, really need to start jumpstarting this pound again. And again, pound dollar, and particularly the pound yen, could have some great plays in it. And even the euro pound, I think it's a little bit too high right now. So this, even here, euro pound wise, we could start seeing some major movement again. I think this is great. And again, I have to agree with it. After she did never mind, just kidding, everybody hated it. I don't think you can't rule a nation with basically like coming out with something and then 3 days later be like, oh my God, too much pressure. Never mind, we'll go back and do it, right? Nah, Boris isn't on the list. Boris is smoking cigars and going to more hurricane parties. Boris is living it up now. He's just laughing. I think it's going to be. I saw the list of people they're voting for. I saw the people. I think there's a younger guy. I think his name, and I'm sure I'm slaughtering it. Someone said, I guess one of the candidates that they're looking at is like Sunak or something like that. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Sonorak or something like that. I think is the leading candidate. It's a younger guy. But I think it's great. I think there's a lot of trading opportunity coming from this. Probably, and again, if the election, what does she say? The election's going to be in the next week? Yeah, it's going to be completed within the next week. So in the next 7 days, we could have some pound strength rolling back into that market because we have a new person with a new idea, a new plan. And again, getting something from rock bottom is the best place to look like a hero. So I think we're good with the pound. Now, data today came in really, really crappy. Again, manufacturing showing that, another negative number, and it was really, really negative, and they forecasted it was going to be negative, but not as bad, and it came in worse, right? Even more negative, indexes going down, right? Unemployment claims, also, those look good. And you're like, wait, why is this? Wait, is it good or bad for the markets? Well, this shows we're going into a recession. This shows we're absolutely not killing the labor market, which everybody keeps saying we have to kill the labor market to stop this inflation push. But yet we are going into a recession. So yeah, not the greatest combination of data today. And people are looking at this going, wait a second. This one's red. That's bad for the dollar. Well, but this one is good. But if you look to see which one's the bigger mover, it's the labor market. So seeing unemployment continuing to go lower, it's like, man, we're cranking. There's no recession here. Labor's going, right? And again, it's because that JOLTS data, the jobs openings are just so high, right? So existing home sales, this is where I think the bubble is, and I think this is the sector that I think is going to get cracked the hardest, right? But the one saving grace is I do think that the Congress will flip. The Democrats have for a long time. They want to tax everybody. It's like, if you own a house, you're rich. We need to tax you. We need to get rid of that interest rate. That mortgage deduction. They've been trying to get rid of that for a long time. I think with it switching, at least that's safe. So there's still a reason to buy a home. But yeah. This data, if they ever get rid of that, this is going to just go like, when there's no benefit, just rent, right? It's not your problem if it's a rent, right? So I want to see what this looks like. And right now the markets aren't really showing anything crazy. Obviously, dollar CAD, it's starting to, now it's at 75. It's starting to accelerate. And I'm sure there's probably some oil news, and oil is probably bouncing around. But again, that's the only mover right now and heading to the downside. And we've mentioned that over the last couple of days. So tomorrow morning, we do have retail sales coming in for the pound. And again, expected to be not as bad, but maybe it is. And then Canadian data. So Canada is right now, obviously, Canadian strength is coming in. Can't really say it's dollar because, again, this is all green for dollar, all green for dollar. Dollar's rallying back against here, and dollar was kind of rallying back in the last, in the last 5 it's not, but the last 60, dollar strength is coming in as well. So seeing this continue to adhere right down is showing us that it is CAD strength rolling into the market. And their data tomorrow is supposed to be expected to be good, right? Hold on. What's their... Reducing inflation is right in our target. We're further support it. Doing so, broader. Okay, it's a lot of that basic stuff. There's probably going to be there's going to be a statement with this too for New Zealand. So I bet you New Zealand's moving. But I like this one. I think tomorrow's a decent day. It's not going to be a dollar heavy day though. So we'll see where the pound sets us off. And again, one European Open trade and one US Open trade with the CAD. So both good. Going across and looking at something like the VIX. So VIX is kind of holding firm down here. Yesterday, we kind of had a drop and a retrace. And again, it looks like it's very, very much channeling. And we mentioned that we had, buyers coming in right around that 30 mark. That 30 is a big area. It's like, oh, God, we're below 30. Oh, we're above 30. Oh, we're below 30. I would say overall today, you can see the VIX is pretty flat. It's up 0.13. Nothing really crazy out there. The data right now, the indices are, looking decent. They're all just a little bit in the positive. And again, they kind of should be, right? Looking at this and you'd be like, oh, well, this is great for the market. And it is. Overall earnings are not bad. Manufacturing being down is kind of one of those things where like, oh, that's not a great forward-looking piece. But unemployment claims being now, that's pretty positive, right? Less people are unemployed. We obviously know that job demand is really, really high. And at the same time, we're, earnings, right? Earnings are earnings are there. There's some misses, some not misses. They're typical, earnings. Now, the dollar. Dollar did take a nice big pop yesterday. And yesterday morning, we were sitting right around here. We talked about, it's tested a little bit higher. Actually, we were sitting right here. And you know what? It went up and it grabbed it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then late last night, it grabbed it again before deteriorating down. And then at 8:30 this morning with the news, you're starting to see this do what? Go up. And the reason why is because, again, the data this morning, 8:30, unemployment, this is what we need to kill. It's not being killed. It's going higher. So, the dollar is technically doing what it's supposed to be doing. But we mentioned that this was a level here. Nice candle draw. We really like that formation of the candle. It was a test and this is like the idea. If you box something off, be like, listen, that's exactly what we're looking for. If we could get that set up in every single trade, can't even see it. There you go. If we could get that formation in every single trade, these are the highest quality zones right here. Okay. And again, hit it, and then boom, roll it. Nice roll back to the downside. So I like it. I do think it comes back up. It may actually get up to that 113 mark before the end of today. Would I sell off of it again? I'd be a little more cautious with it. But I still think 113 is a big psychological number right now. With really lack of any data, there's not really a ton out there that you can use and be like, well, wait a second, here you go. It's kind of not one of those things right now. So, it's a thing, but it's not a thing. Oh, it's Kip. I'm like, what the heck is that noise? That would be Mr. Kip. All right, so what are you playing with? Yeah? Bah, here, you want this? Here, you want these? And how about this? This too? There you go. So where it is, I think it rallies up a little bit. I don't think we really leave the channel right now. Again, with lack of any major news this week, I think next week is really kind of where the mover is. I think the dollar's a little bit more passive, and I said that yesterday that I don't expect major movement. I just see it kind of going back and forth. I'm sad I wanted another Margaret Thatcher. Yeah. I don't think you're going to get one of those. No. Let's see. What can I give you? Here. You like this. There you go. All right, so that's where we're standing with the dollar right now. You can see, that's weird. Nothing over here. Where did my crude go? It's there. It's just not giving me anything. But you're seeing crude continue to rally, right? Yeah, it's kind of doing what it should. Yeah, this is why the cat is starting to move. Anyway, start with the Aussie dollar. So yesterday morning, let's see. Yesterday morning we were sitting here, right? We were sitting right here, and we talked about a Harry Potter trade. Well, guess what? There's your drop. There's your base. There's your pullback. And at the end of the day, you were good. There's your entry. There's your exit. So what happened, buddy? There you go. And again, this is what patience is about, right? 1, 2, 3. We talked about 4 basing in there. We loved that one. We wanted to see it. Didn't give us the entry. Came down end of day. Actually, not even end of day, but 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What did it do? Came back up and got us the entry and kind of channeled sideways, and then obviously went down. And you can see it went pretty close, but let's see. It went 4 pips past our profit target, so not bad. You know, there's 38 pips grabbed from yesterday morning session. Yeah, you're not going to get one of those either. Jeff, the only way you get one is if they get rid of that. If they get rid of that rule about, you have to be U.S. born, right? Because if they did that, I feel like Schwarzenegger could be, president, right? And he's been president in movies before, but I feel like that's the your next Reagan is him, right? Right. Schwarzenegger would be the only one. So right now, again, top side, you can see, I'd love to say that, hey, listen, here's 2 trades from yesterday, but the reality is it's only 1, guys. We had that level up at 63.30. Your Harry Potter was fully out. I hate to tell you that the Pip Bet gang got this one. You missed the entry. Here, do you want my phone? Come on, we're not going to wrestle. Hold on, who's messaging me? Yeah. What? You cannot have that. He's going for, I guess you should be happy he's going for power tools, but no, you cannot have that. With this, you can have that. Here, look, it goes on the end here. Here, look. Boom. But as much as I'd love the claim credit for this one, it didn't hit. You can actually see it here. It actually missed by a little bit. It's like less than 2 pips that it missed by. So again, it happens. Sometimes you got to add buffers ahead of time, and we could have adjusted this. The original draw from it is what we left. We could have adjusted it slightly here. Let's see. If we put it from the bottom of the green right there, right, that would be the bottom of that candle. It's not quite down. I think that may have triggered. Yeah, that actually would have triggered if we were to readjusted it. And you could have done that. You could have actually taken this one in short and it said, well, here you go. But our concern over this one was that it had been hit a few times. Right? If you had readjusted the trade for that, actually, I'll put it here so you can see that it didn't click in. There you go. So you could be in this trade right now. But again, how many times are you going to play the same trade, right? We've hit it here. We hit it here. We hit it here. This is technically hit number 4. So you could have made it, but whatever. But the Harry Potter was the trade that we mentioned and we talked about yesterday. So, but this one, I could delete it. It's already out. There was a trade from yesterday morning. So there you go. 38 pips to start off the morning. Aussie Yen. Now, Aussie Yen, oops, I just moved it to row. I just want the middle one. Also missed. We got a similar Harry Potter, but we mentioned that it didn't really give us a pullback yesterday. Actually, where we were sitting right here. No entry. What it did was the basing came in. You could have adjusted this trade up and said, okay, well, wait, there's the new basing up top. There's our base. If we can get a pullback to that base, then we'll take it. And it did. It came down, it grabbed the sellers and came back. So if you did some adjustment, you could have got into this one. This is like a late night type trade. And again, this is one of those nighttime trading session things. You absolutely could have traded that one. It just was a late night type trade. Looks very similar. Of the two I did mention, I like the Aussie dollar better. The Aussie dollar Harry Potter was a good one. This is a similar one. We talked about it going down. It made it about halfway, which is good because it showed us that there are, the sellers here didn't get cleared out, or I'm sorry, the buyers. So it's good. But I still think we wait till this one goes up just a little bit higher. And again, I'm still waiting for that. We don't have it yet, but I'm still kind of waiting for that yen play. But again, look for this. I'd say probably go a little conservative. Go to the 94.80 area. Right now, this doesn't really qualify as a correct top for me. I don't love that kind of top. I still think there is a top in here, but I don't necessarily have the candle draw for it yet. And this is a higher, higher time frame. So euro dollar. So euro dollar got super close, and maybe you guys got in late last night on the 50. Maybe. I mean, there was the front run here at 9. There's a front run here at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it kind of skirted here. Maybe you got in. I don't see any lines past. Maybe, but most fib traders are not trading at 11 p.m. at night in currencies. So maybe you got into that one, but I don't know. Anyway, it did give us the nice push. It hasn't gone all the way back up top, so we can kind of adjust some of these around. It got close, and again, 1, 2, 3. It got close to their Harry Potter trade. It's a shame. Yesterday we were talking 10:30 is kind of right where we were. We were sitting right here yesterday. It needed to go just a little bit more, and it never got it before rolling. It's a shame because it would have made its 1 to 3 in there, and now all it's gone is kind of push back. I mean, what are we? 18 pips in 24 hours, less than a pip, per hour. So I think right now, take this. Let's mark the top section off because again, it was a little bit of a new top put in. And a push. I think we turn this red for tomorrow. You still gotta, again, it's so hard to do this with one hand. Come on, just sit there, buddy. I'd say that's probably where our top's looking. Obviously, we have, again, this is going to be a yellow. This is going to be like, hey, listen, just take note of this area. It's not really a setup at this point. It's already kind of, it's spent a lot of time there. Can you guys hear him growling? The pit bet gang was nuts, but I think this is a pit bet gang trade as well. Right now, what I would say is really, I think when it comes down, it probably bases in there again. There's not really enough room, and it's close. It's honestly, it's really close. Let's measure it. Let's see. 1 to 3 is right there. As you can see, it's really close. If it does kind of just base or forms a base a little bit above, this one could do exactly what this one did, right? How we were looking for, we were looking for kind of a trade down here, looking for the base. When it gave up and gave us a new base, it's like, wait a second, that's probably where the pullback will come from. It may do the same thing here, right? If it comes and starts basing in this area right here, Kip, you're killing me. No, you can't have that. Here, you want this? What's this? You can have that. This? No, I don't really want you to have that. How about this? You can have this or these. How about these? Here. There you go. Boom. There you go. If the base forms up here, right, this may be the bounce, and then the entry comes up here. So it's really close on this one. I do agree with this one. I do think that there is a trade in here. I wouldn't really be looking for longs until we get down to the 97.25 on that one. But I do see if we can get down here, again, if it bases here, then great, take it. If not, if we get a base right above the zone, I think that could be where, what do you want? You want to get down? Here, you sit in your chair? Here, you sit in your chair? Well, here. Sorry, he dropped something and then wanted to grab it on the floor. Nope, don't take the headphones. So figure out where the new base is. Take this one short. This is a trade probably will be done by tomorrow morning. So this is one of those ones you're going to have to watch out for. All right. So looks like 5 o'clock this morning. We talked about this one yesterday, and you can see that one did hit, right? Yesterday we were sitting right here, 10 o'clock, 10:30. And again, we talked about this one. It hit twice. We did do a base. We ran up, and we mentioned this level. Now, let's see. I'll just bring this across. Yep, it's out. You can see it right there. Right? There's your trigger, and there's your out. This was a 5:30 reversal. Right? There's your 5:30 reversal. Okay. You could have taken this a few ways. One, from the level that we talked about yesterday. You could have also redrawn this one off of this high and said, hey, listen, there's your 5:30 reversal if we get a pullback to it, and then you had that 7 o'clock draw. Either one would have worked. This is a, 48 pip run to the downside? 15 for, 15.6. We just say 15 for 45 or 15 for 50. Doesn't matter. Either one would have worked, or you could have taken the smaller one. So, again, that's another trade setup from yesterday that is decent. Right now, again, keep this same Harry Potter kind of thinking there, looking for the little bit more Euro strength weakening. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4 hits there. So the next time when we come through in base, we are looking for push down. Understand the 50% retracement level and a profit target here is just ahead of this one. So use a little bit of caution if you do to get in. But again, that's, what's that? The third trade from yesterday, and in 4 pairs. So again, a lot of these are late night. We're setting them early and then they're triggering much later in the day. But, not bad little levels in there. So we'll take this off, leave that on until tomorrow. And this is a zone that I'd say we could watch out for this one more time. And if you're wondering why we got in this zone, again, we like the pullback here. We like the punch off of it. It also, with my forecasting fibs, which was also correct to the downside, it was also 61.8. So we had a whole bunch of things in there. This was kind of one of those like golden ratio things where we had the 61.8 supply, huge push off, great quality zones, and boom, there you go. Trade is done for the day. So good one there. Euro yen. So we got the base, but it continued to base. It has not given us the entry. Right now, I would say adjust this a little bit farther forward. Again, we do have a more near-term base that was supported on the top side. We do have the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4 touches. Right now, what I would say is, again, the same Harry Potter's there, the same weakness in the European Union. Again, waiting for some type of a yen play to come in. There's plenty of room for this one to run. There is a little bit of a hash mark here and the 23, but I wouldn't worry about the 23 as much. It is a runner of about 100 pips, so the risk on it is not very big. What are we talking here? 24 pips. 1 to 3 is sitting right there, so you can see it is well before that level. It's just when this finally comes in, right? Don't know when, but eventually when it pops out of this top zone. And again, here's the zone from yesterday, by the way, you could have been in a trade short this morning. And that is a news-based trade. That's in an 8:30 news-based trade. I think this was a little bit more dangerous. And again, I'll be 100% clear. I think this is a little bit more dangerous of a trade. The reason why is because, again, it didn't really explode off of it. It is tested. We do know it's in a greater time frame zone. But we also knew that there was buyers sitting right below it. And it wasn't a full 1 to 3 all the way back down again. So could you have shorted this one? Sure. Was it the highest quality news breakout short? No, absolutely not. Okay. But you could have been short from that one. All right. Pound dollar. All right. So pound dollar is going to be interesting today. And actually this one probably, it's a pip at 50. So yesterday morning, let's see, where were we at? Right here. We went down and we talked about this 50% retracement level, looking for some type of a bounce off 111.82. It tagged it at about 12:30. Right? I kind of missed it a little bit and then ended up grabbing it at 5:30 this morning. So it was a zone and we said, hey, listen, this would be a target first and then look for a potential bounce. And we kind of got it. What I would say is the entry is probably here on the backside, not necessarily this first one. Either one would have worked. It is a trade that is finished now. Right? Let's see. 1 to 3 is right there. So we're past. But there's your 5:30 window right there. Green candle in a zone. We knew it was a 50% level from before, and it was the bottom of a draw. So, yeah, I mean, you should be out at this point. If you're still long, probably going to run into a little bit more problems at 113. 113.09, yeah. So it missed it by 2 pips. So, yeah, this is a pip bet gang too. Man, they're everywhere today. But, yeah, so, again, target first, and then it came back down and confirmed back in. So, yeah, that worked out to be a nice little trade, too. I didn't catch this one. I'm seeing this one for the first time now. But, yeah, nice little 5:30 reversal. Put it this way, I was not waking up at 5:30 this morning. I got back from a lacrosse game, and by the time I got to bed, it was like midnight. I was like, yep, not waking up at 5:30. Trade that one. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But, yeah. So, yeah, nice little trade setup, though. Not too bad. Right now, I'd say probably wait for that. Again, it's a level. There's a 61.8 up there. How much does it need to move? Needs to go another 64. So, yeah, this could be... Every time he makes a noise, I'm like, oh, God, what's he doing? If we can push up, I think this UK news, it could be something, again, I don't know, right there. If we can rally up in the next, I don't know, what? 15 hours, something like that. I think we could, again, what am I using for news now since they took my calendar icon away? I'm still kind of pissed about that. There's your news release. And really, I don't really like the chart. I honestly don't like the chart. I'm gonna have to find another one. I'm very mad that they got rid of the calendar. I wonder what they switched the calendar to. Like, I wonder on an old chart if I have the calendar up there still, if the calendar's there, or if they just like morphed it into something else, right? I feel like it's got to be. Like, I don't remember this. I don't remember a dot, right? I don't remember either of these two dots. I feel like those could be. I mean, they got this dot down here too. Why do they got to have 12 different dots? Why can't you give me a calendar? Um, a key? I don't know. Key magnet? Magnet's fine. A gift? I mean, I could put it as a gift, right? It is your gift. News trading, the gift. Um, the pencil? I don't know. I feel like some of these is like, why do I need that one? How does that help me? I don't know. Anchor? I guess actually we could technically use an anchor, right? If we were teaching, obviously, we talk about an anchor, right? We could use an anchor. I guess that's okay. All right, so yeah, wait for this one to come up and pop. We'll put it up here. We'll see. I think it's more of a news trade than anything else for me. I don't know if I take it off of something else. Maybe I don't know. We could potentially it could be news trade. It could be a 530 reversal if we have a little bit of a pullback. So there's a couple ways we could trade it. I don't know. I like some of the other positions out there that we've seen lately. And I think overall we look for kind of this area, this front run to get in here at the 78.6. All right. Pound yen. So pound yen, we're now 58. So we're starting to move. Look at dollar cat as the dollar cat is running. Hold on, let's see. What was this one? Basically as expected. It was lower. It wasn't quite as bad, but it didn't even change color, so it's inside of the same range. But it did decrease 1.5%. So, but I think this is seasonal. Do they say it in here? Let's see. 3 out of 4 months notched month-over-month sales contractions while the West held steady. Dropped in all regions. Single-family homes, townhomes, condominiums, co-ops retracted 1.5 in August to seasonally adjusted. Yeah. I it it. it it's off, but it's not off enough to like make it be a big deal. So just kind of trending what everybody expected, but again, dropping 1.5%. I should ask my friend. I'd be like, "Hey, you said it's a great time to buy, right? It's 1.5." But again, remember too, before I anger everyone or someone, because I will. I'm sure I'll offend someone. It's 2022. There's got to be a real estate agent out there that's watching these programs. At the same time, there are reasons that people move all the time. Whether the market's good or the market's bad, people get transferred for work. They get moved around with the military. There's always reasons why people move, right? So it's not like the housing market can go to zero, right? Ever. Actually, I got a kid on the team that the dad bought a house now because he's like, I think the rates are going up by 1% and 2%. I just took whatever I could find because I wanted to lock something in with a mortgage before I couldn't afford anything anymore. I was like, well, that's one reason to do it. So anyway, wait for it to go a little bit higher. I think, again, we looked at, we know that 170 is a major area. We're 100 pips south of that right now. Tomorrow's data absolutely could kind of turn it and move it. Yeah, what are you doing now? Make it more noise. Here, let's go in here. It does go in there. Look at that. I'd say look for a short tomorrow morning, but we'll see what the news provides. This could be just the same type of news setup. Now, dollar CAD. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. We didn't get the entry though. I mean, if you would have drawn a level from here and said, all right, listen, there's a lot of confirmation up here, right? I'd have been cautious of this one. Again, this is the fourth hit of that level. We're so close. It's like, just a little bit more, guys. Just a little bit more. And it didn't make it. But again, right here is that trend change, what you could have said is, hey, listen, there's a red, green, red right there. Decent red, green, red. If we can, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. If we can get another collapse below that, that's a trend reversal. And it did come in. And we talked about coming all the way down. So interesting point right now, I would say be cautious with this one. This is a zone. We mentioned it yesterday. It's been one that we've had on our radar. And think about it. It is 10:14. We are at the reversal time. We have had a very, very strong push down. Let's see. Is there any type of major news? No. Whoa. No. Let's see. Confidence board. LEA. Are you doing bang bang? Persistent downward trajectory? Yes. In recent months, suggested a recession is increasingly likely before year end. Oh, now it's before year end we'll be in a recession. That's interesting. By end of year, I'm sure the Democrats would love that. So we'll see. All right, but anyway, it is a very interesting level. This is kind of one of those ones, not that we can't call the bottom, but again, a lot of times we will call tops and bottoms on there. It is 10:30. There is profit taking coming in. All the data is out and wasn't horrible data. Talking about what a potential recession looks like. I mean, even gold is up right now as we're seeing dollar weakness roll into the markets. But again, we see a lot of those reversals and trend chains happens at 10:30. It is a rather small zone, I think, right? Yeah, it's about 15 pips. So, if you're looking for a reversal, again, one way to take this one, if you're like, oh God, but this is the movement for the morning, and you're right, it is, right? What you can do is you can take a little confirmation trade off of this one. Again, wait for it to bounce back a little bit, and then kind of put a fair to go lower in, and that establishes your green, red, green, right? So again, maybe it's not a number one. Maybe you take this as a number three after we get a little bit of a base. But again, what it does is that means that you could lose out on the trade. So again, depends on really how you want to play. All the U.S. data is out right now. It is continuing to collapse back down again. We got nothing more. If anything, wait for a little bit of a bounce and a pullback, and then take it long to show you that, hey, listen, there's some type of a bottom put in. Instead of trying to catch the bottom, wait for the bottom confirmation long, right? Put it right there, right? And again, we're not even really entered yet, but all right. That was not bad. It's 16 pips for 50. So, over the summer, I saw a lady filling gasoline cans beyond her car tank. Of course, that was the high price of summer. Yeah, Jeff, it's funny. Jeff, my favorite one is the one where they told people to, conserve energy or whatever in California, and the guy with the Tesla is filling up the gas cans, right, for his generator. That's the one that I like, right? I think that's my all-time favorite. Ironic meme, right? That wins the most ironic meme of the year. The guy in the Tesla filling up the 3 gas cans for his generators, right? And I'm all for Teslas. I think it's great. I love the fact. I mean, even where I do lacrosse now, where I coach lacrosse, which is funny. It's kind of a back end park. It's not like a very big neighborhood anymore. It's like an older neighborhood. They just put 4 charging stations in there at our fields, right? Public park. Right, public park, and they just put 4 charging stations there. I think that's awesome. Like, if I had the means and the need right now, I would totally get an electric car. I'm at the park all the time. I could literally drive there and just charge it when I'm out at lacrosse practice. You can definitely charge those cars in 2 hours, right? If I'm there 3 times, 4 times a week, I could be filled up at all times. Like, how cool is that? Like, but I don't need another car, right? I don't need a fully electric car, but. I want to go on the record too, guys. I want to go on the record. If I ever got like a fully electric car, which I think would be great, I would probably also buy like an H2 or an H1 because, got to support the American economy, right? I would absolutely get a doomsday vehicle for when the zombies do come. Yeah. I'll be the guy in the H2 that gets like, 8 miles per gallon, right? So just saying. Just saying. Although the Rivian trucks are kind of nice. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't do Doomsday and just get a Rivian truck. They are pretty nice. I do like them. There's one that's down that when I go to Sam's Club, he's there all the time, charging his truck. But I do like it. It is pretty sweet. It's no Tesla truck, but it is pretty sweet. It's like I would never purchase you. If I was given a Tesla truck, I would sell it. I'd find somebody to buy it for me. Anyway, dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss yesterday morning, we were sitting right around here. It did go up. We talked about, 10061, and you can see we hit it at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We hit it again late last night at 11 o'clock, and then the 3 o'clock window. And again, something like the dollar Swiss, I probably wouldn't trade in the overnight. So even this one here, and maybe the 1 o'clock one, there's your European Open right there, right there. And it kind of did a Harry Potter there, but we don't really need it now. We're not going to use it. There's not enough pushback down to parity. But there was a trade in the overnight, so I know some of you guys absolutely love the dollar Swiss. It's not my favorite in the world. But again, here's why. If you got in this trade at 1 o'clock yesterday, you literally were at the same price 6 o'clock this morning. So you held it for what, 12, 15 hours, and it didn't move. So you had the trade for 15 hours before it finally moved in your direction. And this is what this one does. Like, you have to have patience to trade this one. Yeah. Whoops. Wait, what? What did I do? What? Okay. So I think this is an interesting position right now. Again, when the 50% is right near parity and you can see that there is a box right there, it's probably a decent level to look at this one and say, well, wait a second. I mean, you just showed me that we're potentially at a turning point right here. Yeah, you have the dollar CAD at a potential reversal area at 1030. You also have the dollar Swiss at an area where we do have buyers kind of confirmed. We do have parity. We do have a level that's backstopped as well. And we have the 50% retracement in the fib. Yeah, there's kind of a lot going on there, right? Question is, where's this bottom coming in? Are we going to get the bottom now? Are we going to see it bounce off of it? I would say, again, if we get the bounce, I mean, I'll just draw it. I mean, if this kind of gives us a little bit of a bounce, like up into here, and then comes back, then we take it. If it slices right through, obviously it's not a trade, right? Wait for it to do a little bit of a bounce and then take a confirmation and run it back up to 10061. So, reality is, I don't really think. I mean, yeah, nobody wants to see this, and it's like, oh, that's so weak, but it's not really that big of a deal. And there's nothing else out there. I love this. Billion Gyms, channel, TMA and channel, and life, health, and wealth. It's like, run. Right? When we're talking about life, health, and wealth, it's like, okay, you're a life coach that trades and using channels and TMAs. Woohoo! No, don't. Yeah, there'll be people that trade that strategy. Anyway, dollars down. So what do we have? We have crypto up. So we ended up pushing down. We ended up breaking through that 19. I told you 19 is a big deal. They see 19. It's like, whoa, we're below 19. Everybody sell. And that's where they pop. And it's coming back up, right? But, looking at this one, again, this is just regular technical analysis. We are at the 50. If you look to the left, you can see we definitely have some stuff going on over here. Actually, this entire area here, there's a lower test right here, which happens to be right at the 50. So if the dollar is doing a 1030 reversal today, guess what? This will also turn and flip back down again. So you have dollar CAD, dollar Swish, and Bitcoin all in areas where if dollar strength is rolling in at 1030 today, which is in 8 minutes, if there's a reversal at 1030 today, all these pairs are turning in reverse, and it's like kind of like, wow, how'd you know they're all switching? I didn't. I'm just saying they're all in the same area. Ethereum also kind of in the same area, and if you look to the left for where Ethereum is, it also has the same scenario where we have price coming up, and again, you see the test, and we're coming at that level right now, as well as it's probably a 50% or 61. Yeah, 50, 61, we're right in that same range. So again, a lot of reason why you would want to do it there. Doji is a little bit higher, but again, still doing that kind of sideways channel that we've been in for like ever at this point. But we're on the high side, and again, we just peaked above 6, which is the magic number over here for Dogecoin. So, decent movement there. Now, crude rallying up again, and again, this was that old level. We got the Harry Potter trade here the other day. We don't need it. That's the old one. We did do a bunch of basing here yesterday. You can see that we drove into it yesterday at 1 o'clock, pulled back, and then started the base. It's like, yep, it's not going to hold. It actually didn't give us the pullback. And what did it do? We talked about this being a decent level. It came up, and unfortunately, it hit at midnight. It just base. And then when the Europeans came over, they started to send it back higher again. So, unfortunately, the timing is what, the time of day, I think, is what really kind of messed these up. I liked both these levels, particularly this one. But right now, again, the bottom is established. I think right now what we're looking for is price to come up. And I think I mentioned, go back. I mentioned this one yesterday as well, that right there. We talked about 87.50. Right. We talked about 87.50. I think that's where we look for, if there's going to be one, that's the first area we're really looking for any type of, any type of sell. So, wait, what? What did I do? Sorry. Yeah, that's kind of the first area. And again, 50 is a big deal for oil traders. So, yeah, and it's unfortunate. This one actually just kind of Harry Potter, right? It violated, came up, it based, it pulled back, and is now taken off. So, yeah, kind of need that one to go all the way up. So I'd say 87.50 would be a potential area for your turn and reversal. So, that's about it. Wait, what? All right, natural gas. Natural gas continued to deteriorate. You can see yesterday morning on the 19th, we did get a little bit of a Harry Potter. We drove down and then it really started the base. And once you start seeing the basing in front of it, you're like, it's trying to find some sellers. And it came up, it grabbed some sellers and then kind of pushed lower. So I'd say natural gas being down here at 540, it's at a level. It's, we had this level down here being kind of the target, and we're going to kind of see if this was, again, we drew this over here. It's not a fresh level, right? That's why we have it red. It is established. It hit 1, it hit 2, it hit 3. So we know this is the 4th hit. We don't have the pullback on it. We're really looking for this one to clear just a little bit more. Just a bit. Oops. Hold on. Wait, what did I do? Right. We're looking for this one to kind of come down to, do this, right? I want it to come down a little bit. Take a little bit of a time and go over. I don't want this just down and pop. So I kind of like this one short, but it's not there yet. What are you playing with? What? That's sister's toy. So again, I think we still maintain our bearish thinking on this one, but we don't quite have a trade set up for it yet. So, and maybe they both work together. Maybe it does. Maybe this kind of drive right now pushes us up, and again, maybe it gives us the piece, and then they both go short. Maybe we go into Friday with commodities on the downside, all red across the board. But the trade is not set up here yet for natural gas. Gold popped. Let's see. Yesterday morning, we kind of missed the pullback. It did go lower. It did go past the profit target just by a little bit for what we were talking about. And now we've kicked all the way back up again. So we will just fibs on this one down. And I would say in particular, this zone that we drew yesterday does now come into play. And we're going to remove this. We're not going to use this level again. It kind of missed its entry with this basing. It's like, yeah, it's going to go. It is kind of in that zone, but we don't really necessarily need it right now. I'm going to say that this 23 level is going to matter. Let's pull those up. We don't need this anymore. I don't need that break anymore. So right now we do have a base, a drop, and a big kind of slam into that. So we do have some confirmed sellers at 116. I'm sorry, not 116. 1645. I do like how this one is, again, not tested. I do like how we're driving into there. If we suddenly see, again, we keep saying this is like the 6th time we've said it. If 1030 is going to be the bottom for the dollar today and we do start to see that reversal come in, that would also mean probably the top for gold. So it's in close proximity. It's kind of right there. Everybody's sick. Got a cough. Again, this is kind of one of those set and forget type things. If it comes up a little bit higher, you could wait for the confirmation, but it has been confirmed, and I think it's probably a decent rollover point as well as a 50. All right. Silver. Silver also skyrocketing. So yesterday, this is a level that we had seen some pushing off of, and it confirmed the test that it was there. You can see in the early morning, the 6:30 window, this one skyrocketed through, came all the way up to 7 to 8, dropped back down again, and then again, this is what you would call kind of whippy, right? A lot of whip at strange times, right? Its first launch was at 6:30. And then the 8:30 data drove it down, and then 9:30, let's whip everybody out again. So I think this one, I would say that there's probably a decent shot up here at 19, and you can see being 19 is going to be a psychological number. I'd say 18.50 is really kind of boxing off top and bottom. We can take this off now because it's actually above, and let's run it in the other direction. Yeah, look at that. See how the 60.51, wherever this top comes in. Ooh, and if we can come up to 15, look at that, right at the 61.8. So there could be potentially, and again, again, this is more that forecasting piece of it. I'd say that look for something there. And again, I'll tell you right now, silver's up 2.5%. This is a bit extended. Oops, what am I doing? Oops. This is a bit overextended for silver. So I would say silver is probably set up for a bit of a short. Yeah. So look for something. I like 19. I think that's a decent level. Let's look over here. So Twitter, it popped a little bit. We knew we were in a sell area, and you can see it fought really, really hard. It really did nothing yesterday. Ended up popping up a little bit, but again, it's kind of looking like it's peaking. Apple. Here's what Apple's yesterday looked like. It didn't quite make it up. It did run into sellers. It did drive back down, and now we're driving up. So we know that Apple is kind of in an area where Apple could be reversing too, guys. Right? So, I mean, Twitter, at an area where it's like, we know we got some stuff up here, and again, a little bit hard, but Apple looks like it reversing in Tesla. Yeah. Remember we talked about Harry Potter's, right? We typically want the base and the pullback. Well, there's your big push. There's your base. There's your pullback. And there's your drive all the way down. And it kind of came down to an area where you're like, hey, listen, there's sellers here. And that's what we're bouncing off of. So, yeah. So Twitter, we talked about that trade from, what did we say? We were talking about 118 down to like 104 or 105. I think is what I mentioned yesterday on this trade. Looking for that break actually coming down to 110. There's that options trade we talked about yesterday. And again, did the spike hurt you? No, it's options, right? You have the right to do something. You don't have the obligation to do it. So yeah, I went against you a little bit, and then you went to your full profit target and it cranked even lower. So yeah, again, traditional options, guys, you're welcome. VIX is deteriorating faster. It's going down. It's down 2.2%. Everything goes up a little bit, as it should be. I mean, the data today is kind of like not the best for the dollar. But the question is, again, 10:30, is the dollar going to start reversing now as all the kind of the early morning data has been absorbed? I don't think, I mean, really based off of this, I'll tell you right now, this being lower, not really going to affect the Fed too much. The manufacturing, the Fed's going to look at that and be like, it's not the best thing out there. But what the Fed will do is look at this one, and people are like, what? This is great for the economy. Look at this. People are there. This is really, this should be considered a red number for the markets. Yeah, it's green for the dollar. That's, this does everything off the dollar. Demand destruction in the labor market is what everybody says has that. This is the only way we're going to solve it. This is the exact opposite. So overall, it is more of a bullish day, but I think right now everybody's looking at this as such a positive sign. I do think it has the potential to turn and flip. And yeah, so you're seeing this come up, and you're already starting to see kind of peaks in there. So let's see what this one looked like. Yep, there's 930. This is pretty easy. Let's go bring it down to a 15. Here's your level of basing in the overnight, right? And it's kind of a big area, but it marks off all this basing down here. And there's your touch. And there's your 930 candle. And 1, 2, and 3 is right there. Look at that. Dead on. 3. So you're up. 1 for 1 off the open. All right. All right. Not too bad. NQ. Let's see. NQ also has a pullback. This one, this one, again, depending if you use the overnight or this newer established channel, this one, I wouldn't quite, I mean, maybe you could have used that one near term, but it was so close. I think you have to, there's just too much involved in that. NQ, I don't know if NQ when it been, again, if you boxed off all that, probably no entry. If you had gotten really aggressive on it and used this, you were fine. And again, had you gotten overly aggressive on this one, right? If you gotten overly aggressive here and said, well, wait a second, there's kind of your pop and there's your confirmation, this one you would have gotten stopped out by just a little bit. In futures, in like Nadex or traditional options, you would not have gotten stopped out. It did go a little bit deeper, right? Here, I'll change this one so you can see it. There's your aggressive entry at 930. It did go just slightly deep into this yellow zone. So even if you did this, but again, had you used options with it, you're good, right? You would have been fine either way, right? So NQ, aggressively, you could have got in conservatively, taken just the base, the lower level here. Again, you should have gotten in, but had you been the conservative on the level, taken the lower one, you would have missed the entry on this one. But again, that's why it's kind of like, we're pulling back. It says go. And you can see it is definitely well past 1 to 3, right? 1 to 3 is right there. But what? Oh, look at that snot. Look at that snot. Oh, yucky, yucky. Yucky, yucky. He literally had snot right into his mouth. So, NQ, if you made entry, you're good. 2 for 2. YM. YM, again, here is kind of the overnight, looking at kind of the tops and bottoms as far as this one goes. You can see it got probably pretty close. And again, if you would use the aggressive entry on that one, which would have been this zone here, which was kind of tested, actually, we would have probably had to use that down at the bottom of the green there. Again, kind of the same thinking. If you went overly aggressive, not overly aggressive, but if you took the aggressive, the more near term confirmed entry, and adjusted it for the 845 window, you got entry. If not, if you were looking at the bottom one, you kind of watched it again at pip gang again. NQ, NYM would have both pip ganged you if you just used the overnight. ES was fine. If you'd used the options on all three of them, they would have been long entries, and you'd have been good to go for all three of them. And again, well past the 1 to 3 target on this one. I'm sure there's a futures trader out there that's like, why do you keep doing this to me? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick or easy to go after. But there's your 1 to 3, you're well past. So again, there's buddy, stop. What are you doing? No. Okay. So easy reset on that one as well. This one really kind of the news drove it down into the level. So it's kind of a news trade. Whoa. What are you doing? Kind of a news-based trade. So we'll see. Russell looks exactly the same. Went back to the same thing. I mean, there's their overnights level right there. You can see it did tag at 930. So this one would have been like the ES. You could use the near term as well, in which case when you adjusted it would have went to there, which again with futures you may have gotten stopped out by a little bit, but again if you had your buffer in there, you're fine. Options, you were good to go. And again I think this one should be, and again we'll do it off the bottom one because it did definitely hit the bottom one. There was a guaranteed entry on that one, and 1 to 3 is right there, so you're past. So again, great morning for morning opening trades. All 4 of them arguably are entries. 2 of them definitely. 2 of them would have been close depending on which zone you used. Had you used options with either one of them where there's not that immediate stop out on there, you were 4 for 4 across the board. So great opening setups for the morning. Yeah, we'll see. Oil is, oil better not turn there. With 3 tops on that, with 3 candles like that, it's not what I want to see, oil. Wanted you to go all the way up. Don't mess this up for me. Already looking like we're going to have a top there. So could be the top for the day, guys. I'm just going to say it. Could be the top for the day for oil. When you see 3 candles like that in a row, I mean, it is 15-minute charts, but when you see one top, and then 4 like that, and that little sawtooth, tends not to be the ideal situation, right? Yeah. Oh, well, let's see. Where's dollar? Yeah, dollar is running back into. We'll see. I think it could go a little bit more, but this could be the turning point for the dollar today. So, yeah, watch these positions. So, anyway, let's go ahead and do the drawing. Ernest went in big today. Neuro went in big today. A little fight going on right there. So Neuro won yesterday, so Neuro's going in for 100. Everybody else is in for 25 today. So Ernest is going negative either way, but again, there's that stopping Neuro's 100. Sometimes you lose the battle to win the war, right? Ernest is like, I'm taking this thing today, right? I'm taking it today. And days like this is where like Eki or Morena end up stealing one, right? Yeah, could be. All right, let's close it down. Let's see how it goes. Did Ernest bite off more than he can chew? Is Neuro's, dark side force user going to take it today? Yeah, he's Morgan his house, right? Or one of the singles going to take it, right? Winner of today's drawing is Ernest. He took it. What did you have? 47% chance. It was almost 50. Ernest was the roulette wheel today, right? He was the roulette wheel. He's like, nope, I'm gonna buy all 3 green squares, or all 2 green squares. So Ernest overall was at a negative today, right? Overall, he was at a negative, but he did stop Neuro from winning. So again, he was the if you guys play poker, you know how the big blind sometimes spends money to whittle down the small one. Now, Neuro, what you need to start asking is, has Debbie made a side deal with Ernest for him to burn chips to keep you from catching Debbie? Like, that's the big question. That's what you should be asking Neuro, right? Is there now a conspiracy with the longtime members, right? That's the question. They know each other. They share recipes, right? Ernest could be sending her wine. I mean, I feel like Debbie has a price. You could, fishbowl wine glasses, I feel like Debbie's in. So, right? A lot of manipulation going on in the markets, guys. So anyway, with that said, I'm out of here today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning bright and early, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Remember, we do have all the CAD data coming in. So again, ways to trade that is dollar CAD, but also don't hesitate to look over at the CAD yen. Remember, the CAD yen removed the US element from it and turns out to be a pretty decent trade. So the rally stalls after it throws in the towel. Yes. As it should, because they're like, wait, who's the next leader going to be? But yeah, it stalls. Look, hey, it's stalled, and now it's up 118, right? And against the dollar, 73, right? Yeah, dollar CAD continuing to deteriorate. So, all right, with that said, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you then. Take care.